Spoiler alert. Yes, you can tell a difference and it does ride better. Welcome back to the Custom FX YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be talking about the rear suspension of my Tri Glide. This is a 2014, but this will pertain to many of the Harley trikes from the Tri Glide, the Freewheeler, and the RG3. Many of us will agree that the stock shocks, simply put, suck. That's it. They just suck. And some people will say, oh, I'm happy with the ride. Okay, God bless you. But I guarantee you, if you swap those out for a set of good aftermarket shocks, you're going to finally find out that there's definitely a big difference. Now, these trikes are a short wheelbase, solid axle. You can only do so much to these without going through the added expense of adding like independent rear suspension to kind of help it out. So again, that's what this video is really going to be doing, is I'm trying to get the maximum out of the ride out of my trike. Now, what I have done, I do have 14-inch Pro Action shocks on this, and this is not going to be a debate about whose shocks are better. There's many brands that are out there, but the two top contenders is Pro Action and also DK Customs. Two great manufacturers. And there's a couple other ones also that are out there. Again, I'm not going to mention. Right, I already got this set up in place here, but we went ahead and we're setting the convertible comfort bracket mount set down first, so it's easier to see and do a true comparison. I've already got this set up, as you can kind of tell here, but let me go ahead and get everything all perfectly square. So we are comparing apples to apples in all fairness. Okay, all holes are lining up. Get that in there, that get in there. All right. All right, all holes are typical where the mounting is. And you can see what I did here with the center line. Center line on the stock bracket, center line of the mounting on that bracket, and that's what it is. It's a 3/4 of an inch difference of the shock that's kicking back versus the stock bracket. Again, these are not designed to lift. If you already have 14-inch shocks, the whole purpose of these brackets, and again, do not confuse these with the convertible lift brackets versus these, which is the convertible comfort brackets. These are designed to be used with your 14-inch shocks. That's the maximum height we can put on these trikes, 14 and a half. So what they do is you buy these brackets if you already have 14-inch shocks, and it will actually kick it back. The only reason why you can't go any further than this is so you don't have any clearance of it hitting the tub and installing them as well there too. So you can't go back really any further. That's why they made them this way. So that is the big question, is 3/4 of an inch kicked backwards over stock, even though we've already put on our aftermarket 14 or 14.5-inch shocks, whichever brand you choose. The big question is that 3/4 of an inch, can we even feel a difference? This is going to be a quick install, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to show you every single nut and bolt. In fact, I'm going to have to pull this thing off the lift, and I'm going to do this here on the floor, just for the fact of taking the tires off, and where you have to put the jack stands makes it a little bit tough here. Since I added the rake kit to the front end, getting the jack stands is too close to the rear there, and it's just easier to do this particular video on the floor. So it's easier for me to just go ahead and do this on the ground, because I'm going to go ahead and remove the tires. You don't have to. It's just going to make it a little bit easier. I may as well go ahead and clean a little bit behind that there too. And it just gets a little bit sketchy here, getting near the edge of the lift anyways. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jack this up. I'm going to show you where I position the jack stands. I actually have a trailer hitch on this as well there too. So you're kind of limited, but you're going to simply use, a jack and 2 jack stands so you can safely do this. And all I'm doing is taking out the bottom mounts of the shocks And once I remove those shock mounts, you got to do both sides at the same time. And then I will take off the old brackets and install the new brackets. What I did was to bring my main floor jack from the left side to jack up the belt guard area. The problem when you do that is your left side will raise up much higher than the right side because it's offset. So there's the main floor jack underneath the belt guard area, floor jack in between the trailer hitch and the slip-ons. And then for the right side, I use my trolley jack with a V2 adapter. Raise that up. Jack stand, again in between the slip-on and the trailer hitch. Let me go ahead and lower this down. Yeah, these V2 lift adapters do work out really, really good. Go ahead and pull this out. Don't want to self-promote the lift adapters, but I will say that this right here worked out great. So now I got both sides jacked up. I can get to the shock brackets. Everything's all nice and safe with some extra help of a floor jack holding that into place just for safety as well. So at this point, I'm going to take the tires off. Again, you don't have to. I can get to them. But since I'm on the ground, I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of cleaning here anyways. And we will cut away, take the tires off, and start taking off the brackets and show you what that looks like next. All right, from the right side, the emergency brake bracket, you got 2 bolts down here. You have another one up there. You're going to have to loosen that to get to the bolts behind it. Again, this is on a 2014. Yours may differ. Get down here on this side. Of course, you can see much easier. Here's the stock bracket here. You can easily see the OEM bracket with the Per Action 14s. And I do see some additional clearance, but again, 3/4 of an inch difference between here. It's going to kick it back to about here. That's going to be the main question, is just that little bit of difference. Will I notice a ride? Just wanted to show real quick here on the left side. The shock bolt is already taken out. The upper bolt for the shock bracket is off. These are also already loosened. But this is the reason why you have to take the emergency brake bracket off on with those bolts on the front end, is because you cannot take these out. It bottoms out here on the bracket. So yeah, now at this point, I'm just going to loosen up those bolts on the front side of this bracket. They are socket head bolts, and so I can at least move this out of the way so I can take this out. And then I can at least put the other bracket on, and then I will repeat the same thing on the other side, and then make any necessary up and down adjustments with the jack to get the shock bolts lined up on the bracket. Okay, so the next part of the video will indeed be showing the new brackets in place. Okay, the brackets are on. Again, these are the DK Customs Convertible Comfort brackets. These are not the lift brackets. These are just comfort brackets, which all they do is make the mounting point from here to here, 3/4 of an inch difference backwards. It could have probably gone back a little bit more, but we will see what the ride's going to be like. That's the top of the shock up in there. It's not focusing well, but it is easier to definitely take your tires off just to get to this. The other side's a little bit of a pain. Easier for me to just stop the camera and get myself into position here. But here's the other side. And I stand corrected. That park and brake cable bracket, it's only the 2 bolts. It's not the 3, it's the 2 bolts that basically loosen that bracket to get it out of your way. Now, a couple things in mind. If you have a service manual, please follow the steps. These are actually the steps shown in mine. But as I have highlighted, a couple things here are these pinch bolts. Once you take these out, get a tap and chase those threads on the other end. Get a wire brush and definitely clean the threads off on the bolts because you are reusing them. You don't want to have any dirt, debris, or old Loctite to kind of take any torque specs off. Speaking of torque specs, again, this is out of my 2014 service manual. This is the trike supplement, 45 foot-pounds. I put it at maximum. Please check yours for your spec. And also Loctite on that shock bolt. Again, tighten to spec in your service manual. But yeah, definitely I would recommend using a tap and also using compressed air and a little blowgun and blow some of the dirt and debris out of those tapped holes. There's actually more junk in there than what I kind of thought, so that's definitely a good idea. Your main tools for mine: 3/4 inch wrench, 9/16 wrench, also a socket, breaker bar ratchet, blowgun, little wire brush, blue Loctite 243, your best friend, and any other convenience tools that you may have. Ratchetable wrenches, and of course also a torque wrench so you can torque the spec, and a drill and tap. Those holes, by the way, are 3/8 by 16. That's what mine was. Again, double check yours. So a little tap set, 3/8 16 coarse thread. But at this time, I got everything's a little bit wiped down here pretty good. I'll get it all nice and clean, even a little bit more. Even get that back part. I'll get things cleaned up while I'm underneath here. And then I'll get my wheels and tires put back on. Don't forget, torque your lug nuts down to 100 foot-pounds. Recheck after 100 miles. And again, another 100 miles, and will not hurt to check again. But always check the torque on these. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and get my wheels and tires cleaned up and put this all back together. And I'm going to take it for a test ride, and I will tell you if I actually noticed a 3/4 inch difference of the bracket. That basically does nothing more than kick back your shock 3/4 inch. We shall see. So as you know from the spoiler alert, yes, there is a difference. I can tell a difference in the ride. It's not huge, but it is a difference. Is it worth the extra money for the brackets? I'm going to say yes, 100%, absolutely. As I'm going to try to squeeze the best and most amount of comfort that I can kind of add to this. And that's what this whole video was about. Would those brackets indeed be noticeable? As I have come to work today, the same roads I take every single day, there are parts of the roads that are kind of bone jarring. Now again, with a rake kit, that definitely helped out. You actually increased the rake on the front end. And now with these brackets, you kind of now increased the angle in the back, the cantilever effect. So maybe the combination of both, but I can definitely tell you it is well worth it. The bumps that I normally would hit, it definitely smoothed over them. Did I feel them? Yes, you could feel those bumps, but they were much smoother. Some of the bumps that were a little bit minute was even barely noticeable. So here's the recap. I already have 14-inch long shocks on this. The brackets, again, we are talking about are the DK Customs Convertible Comfort Mount brackets. They are not the lift brackets. Again, the lift brackets will only work on the 13-inch shocks, which gives you the length of a 14-inch shock. So this just actually lets you know that a lot of guys that are going with the 13-inch shocks and the lift brackets, not only are they getting that extra inch of lift, but they are also getting that extra angle as well there too. So yes, they are experiencing a great, better ride, better than factory. You know, what they're not really experiencing is what I've just done here, is if they had the 13-inch shocks and then they put the brackets on afterwards and do a comparison. So for anybody who is maybe kind of wanting or on the fence or wanting to go with these, you know, type of combination here for the 13-inch shocks with a lift, yes, I would definitely recommend that. If you already have the 14-inch long shocks, regardless what brand, then I would also recommend going with the DK Customs mount brackets, not the lift brackets again. So I hope this video helps and gives any clarity. DK Customs, I want to thank you for a great product. I'm gonna be honest with you, at first I kind of thought these brackets were, quote, snake oil and maybe just a marketing gimmick, but I'm gonna tell you the truth publicly to everybody who's maybe listening to this video, on the forums, on the Facebook groups. I'm gonna tell you one thing right now, these brackets do work. It is noticeable. It's not huge, but I'm gonna tell you, it's actually worth it. We will do anything to get a improved ride. So if you don't have the brackets, I recommend them. So definitely contact DK Customs for that. Again, I hope the video helps, and we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here, and we'll see you on the next video. Ride safe, guys.